Press here. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the organizing team, I warmly welcome all the students, faculty members, guests, participants, and parents to the inauguration of the 6th season of Science Quest 2026 at Indian Institute of Technology, Palakkad. Science Quest is a unique residential science camp that brings together young minds with curiosity, creativity, and a love for learning. Over the next 10 days, students will have the opportunity to interact with faculty members, researchers, and fellow students through lectures, demonstrations, workshops, experiments, and discussions across science, engineering, and mathematics. This program is being conducted in memory of the late MC Valsakumar, fondly remembered as Valsa by his friends and students. He was an outstanding scientist, a deeply respected teacher, and above all, a wonderful human being who inspired generations of students through his passion for science and learning. The continued support and contributions made in his memory help us carry forward this journey of nurturing scientific curiosity among young students. In many ways, Science Quest continues the spirit and vision that Professor Valsakumar believed in so deeply. At this moment, I would like to invite our respected Dean of Academics, Professor Athira P., to address the gathering and share a few words with us.
Good morning all. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this program and to this institute. So this Science Quest is an annual residential camp that we conduct in memory of late Professor MC Valsakumar. So as I mentioned earlier, he was a professor in the Department of Physics and also the Dean Student of Affairs at IIT Palakkad. So the main objective of this project is the Science Quest event is to instill the inquiry and your critical thinking among the students. And also, I'm sure that all of you are here because of your love towards science and mathematics, right? So one of the main objective of this program is to encourage that, right? And all of you are here from different part of the state, and I know that some representation from Coimbatore also. So this provide a platform for interact among yourself, and also it will give an opportunity to interact with the faculty members and students of IIT Palakkad. So it's a student vacation time here at IIT Palakkad. So most of our undergraduate and postgraduate students are on vacation, but our research scholars will be there. They will be interacting with you during the different sessions that we are starting from today, right? So at IIT Palakkad, we have around 10 academic departments spanning from basic sciences, mathematics, humanities and social sciences, and 6 engineering disciplines. So as part of this camp, we are planning various interactive sessions in diverse topics in relation with these disciplines. And also you will have hands-on laboratory sessions mostly in the afternoons. I'm sure that you will also get an opportunity to expose to emerging technologies like 3D printing, robotics, Internet of Things from IIT Palakkad. So like one more thing, like as all of you are aware, so this is the era of innovation and incubation, or innovation and entrepreneurship, right? And from both state and central government, there are many initiatives to inculcate or nurture the innovation among the students. Many of you might have participated in various events. So at IIT Palakkad, we have an innovation ecosystem through IIT Palakkad Technology Innovation Hub, IPTF, and through TechIn. So it's basically to nurture the innovation among the faculty members and students. And I would like to inform you that it's open to public also, right? And we have at IIT Palakkad a C-Square Innovation Laboratory. So this is a maker space for our students. So they can convert their ideas into prototypes or models here in Innovation Lab. So as part of your residential camp here, you will get an opportunity to visit the Innovation Lab. And I hope this residential camp will give you many more ideas to plan your higher studies in many other ways. And all the very best for you. And we can meet during I'm part of Civil Engineering Department. So we will have a session in the Civil Department also. At that time, we can further meet. So I'm wishing all the very best for you, and wishing a fruitful and effective next 10 days of residential camp here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring and encouraging words. We would now like to invite Dr. Jason Babu, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, to say a few words about Professor Valsakumar and his association with Science Quest.
First of all, welcome all of you to IIT Palakkad for this 10-day residential camp. Every year we conduct this camp from the year 2019, the year in which Professor Valsa expired. And from that year onwards, almost every year we conduct it, except that we had a 2-year break in between during the COVID years. So initially we had around 30 students here, 2 from each district of Kerala and 2 from Coimbatore, and later we increased the number of participants to 50. So that's how we are running the program now. Now let's come to who was Professor Valsa and how we know him. You already heard from the person who introduced him to you, but let me explain a little bit more from my experience with him. So Professor Valsa, I know him as a professor in our Department of Physics. He was here from 2015 to 2018. He was also our Dean of Student Affairs. And of course, we had a lot of opportunity to work closely, and then I'll tell you a little bit about that. So before that, let me tell you what I know about his academic profile. So he started his studies by doing his undergraduate studies from Talasheri Brennan College, Kannur. And after that, he did his master's in physics from University of Calicut, and he finished with gold medal. And after that, he proceeded to join BARC Mumbai. And after that, he joined in IG Car Kalpakam, and he was there for quite a long duration of his career. And in 2012, when he was retiring, he was the head of Material Science Department at IG Car Kalpakam. And then he was, for a short while, he was teaching in University of Hyderabad, and afterwards he joined here in 2015. So we were also, I'm very happy to remember that he was also my close neighbor, next door neighbor to me. And then during our interactions here, what I have always seen is that he was among the senior most people in this institute, but he was a constant presence in all scientific lectures and even other lectures that took place at IIT Palakkad. So he continued to show that passion for science, though probably he knew much more than many of us who are here, right? So that's the most important quality that I have seen in him. As I told, he was a professor in physics department, but surprisingly, he was also offering courses such as linear algebra and probability, which are courses in the math department. And I used to observe that students always used to surround him after the class so that their doubts are clarified. And he was so passionate and enthusiastic to spend time with students. So this was, of course, very unique about him. The extent of time that he was ready to spend with students. He was also involved in a lot of outreach activities that IIT Palakkad was conducting for nearby schools. Even our undergraduate students and some of our faculty members were led by Professor Valsa to visit the nearby schools, and they were handling some sessions for the students. So you can see how passionate he was about teaching and also reaching out to those who would benefit from what he knew, right? So that's the main concept that we are trying to convey through this Science Quest camp. So basically the curiosity and the enthusiasm and the passion with which he was pursuing science, that's the message that we want to convey to you who are the participants of this workshop. So this workshop is the residential camp is being organized. The funding is mainly by friends and family of IIT Palakkad. We started an endowment in 2019. And the support in terms of manpower is mainly by the faculty and the research scholars of IIT Palakkad. So once again, welcome all of you to this camp and hope you have a wonderful stay here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now we'll move to the inaugural lecture session. The inaugural lecture will be delivered by Dr. Anup George, Associate Professor, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, on the topic Thinking Machines and Thinking Humans, Exploring AI and Philosophy. May I now invite Dr. Anup George to deliver the inaugural lecture.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So I thank Akanksha and the organizing team for inviting me to give this inaugural lecture. Okay. And so formal things are over. Okay. Now this you can consider as an informal inaugural lecture. And before I proceed, let me also welcome you all to the campus. This may be first time you are staying away from campus, away from home in a campus for like 10 days. No? Some of you may not have never been in a hostel life, staying away from home, meeting different friends, meeting people from all over Kerala and some part of Coimbatore. So let me wish you all the best for your time here, 10 days, learning a lot of things. And also remembering Professor Valsa. I also had a chance of being with him for almost 2 semesters after I joined here. Okay, so coming to the inaugural lecture, I wonder why they have invited me for this lecture, because I'm not a scientist, okay? I don't teach engineering, I don't teach biology or physics or chemistry. I basically teach philosophy, okay? So, giving an inaugural lecture for a science quest is actually out of place, but let me see what I can bring in, okay? Let me see if we can engage for like 45 to 1 hour, and we'll make it very interactive, okay? I'll be asking you questions. There are mics. Those who like to answer, you can answer some questions, okay? And basically, we will run through a couple of things. We will listen to a little bit of philosophy, because I teach philosophy here, okay? And also I'll try to bring some bit of connection with AI, okay, which is all your interested topics. I know that all of you are interested in that. So that's a title I have put, Thinking Machines and Thinking Humans, okay, exploring AI and philosophy. Okay, so that is the crux of what we are going to do. Let's see how that happens. So any problem here? What's the problem? Truth. Any problem with the truth? Spelling error? But you understand what it is? Yes, you understood. Okay, but there is a spelling error. Okay, and what are they doing? They are going towards truth. Which truth? This? Or the real truth? Or some truth? At least they are going, and they are close enough. Okay, so they have been going quite some time, walking along for something. Well, spelling error, that's okay. Let's not consider that. Maybe they are moving towards something they have been searching for. Okay, so that is the beginning part of philosophy. Okay, we have to search for, we have to walk, we have to move along. So keeping that as a background, in coming couple of minutes, I'll be discussing about a little bit of what is philosophy. This may be your first and last philosophy lecture, because you may not attend philosophy lecture ever. Okay, you don't have to. Okay, but at the same time, consider this as your first and last, and let's learn something about philosophy. Also a little bit of science and philosophy, how that links. Also coming to what is AI, so that is our hot topic. All of you are interested in that. What does it mean to think? Okay, so this is a very serious problem. Okay, thinking. Are we thinking? Any question we immediately go to AI. Okay, we immediately jump to ChatGPT. You have an answer immediately. But at the same time, what does it mean to think? Okay, especially today, young people like you. What is a philosophical way of thinking? That's another thing. Okay, thinking and philosophical way of thinking. Are we thinking at all? These are some of the questions. We may not be able to answer, but we will try to think about. What makes human beings different from AI? Okay, very serious problem. Okay, because they do everything that we want. Okay, nowadays, and another 10 years time, you will see what kind of different things going to happen in the world in line with AI, progress, technology, development. So, what is it that actually going? What is our position here? There are some things that let's try to look at. If AI can perform many things, okay, what will happen to certain things like, I may not be going detail into that, like creativity, ethics, our existence, society, all these things we'll be looking at. Okay, and what does it mean to be a human in the age of intelligent machines? So these are some points that we might touch upon, and then we may not have an answer to all this, but we will be able to discuss, and let's see how that works. Okay, so what is science? So we are here for Science Quest. What is science? So the study and the knowledge, okay, about the physical world and natural laws. Very simple. Okay, so that is science. Science studies about about the environment. Okay, it's about the knowledge that comes from that, the physical world. Okay, very simple. And what is philosophy? What do you think philosophy is? Something very similar. Okay, the study and ideas. It's again a study. Okay, philosophy believes about meaning of life. Okay, now that's a little bit of different thing here. It talks about life. Okay, how many of you are alive? All of us are alive. Okay, there is no doubt. Okay, but how many of you have thought about life? Okay, no, some of you are lived just for like 17, 18 or 16, 17, 18 years. There are some others here who would have lived for 50, 60 years. So no, and then there is also an end to life. Okay, that's also very clear. You may not have thought of it, but that comes as part of philosophy. Okay, but it talks about, it thinks about all that. That is philosophy. Okay, in gist. Okay, from the moment you started thinking to the moment you are no more. Okay, that is our point of death. Don't worry about those things now. Okay, and it comes from a Greek word philosophia. Okay, and philo means love, sophia means wisdom. So that is only for you to understand. So philosophy simply means love of wisdom. Somebody who loves wisdom is who is that? Philosopher. And who is that? Have you ever heard about any philosophers? Kafka, yes. Who else? Dostoevsky, yes. Who else? Any Indian philosophers? Gandhiji? Never heard? Yes. What is your name? Yes, Shanmugam. Can you be another philosopher? Yes, you are also a philosopher. Yes, Gandhiji never studied philosophy. Okay, but he is one of the biggest, great philosophers. How? How come? Because that was simply his life. Okay, so that's how we will be looking at. Okay, philosophy is, for instance, Sachin Tendulkar's philosophy. Have you ever heard? Has he got a philosophy? Possibly, yes. That is Sachin Tendulkar's philosophy. That made him Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, and things like that. So it's all about loving wisdom. Now, what is wisdom? What is wisdom? Loving wisdom is easy. Okay, if you can find it, if you can buy it from Amazon, then you start loving it. Is it possible? No. Okay, so these are all problems with the philosophy. It simply says love of wisdom, but where is it? Okay, so let's see. I may not be able to give you in a package even after the lecture, but let's see how we can think about it. Okay, so why then philosophy? Okay, so what is philosophy? So why philosophy? Okay, let's see what it is. So there are two important factors that we can think about life. What are they? Two important factors that affects us. What do you think? Everyday life. Two important factors of life. One, any idea? Science, as simple as that. Okay, it has been there since human existence. That's here, Science Quest. Okay, science. Now, what does science give you? Yes, definite knowledge. Okay, at least it looks for definite knowledge. Your professors may not agree with me. Okay, but at the same time, let's see how that works. So, science at the end of the day looks for definite knowledge. Okay, there may be a theorem, somebody will say that no, that is not correct. So when you say that is not correct, they are looking for another definite knowledge. So finally we are moving towards definite knowledge. Okay, it might come through observation and experiment and so on. Okay, but that is okay. So that is science, and more than what is science, what I want to say is that is one of the most important factors that have affected our life. Okay, since existence. I'm not saying anything about technology because it is an aftershoot, okay, of science and technology. What is the next one? What else? Smartphones. What else? PUBG? No? You don't know PUBG? Okay. Our students here knows, but you may not know. Okay. So what is the next factor? As simple as this, religion. Okay, so this is a little bit of philosophy and history. If you go back in history, you will see that the two factors that made us what we are today are these, science and religion. And what do they give you? One gives you definite knowledge, other one also gives you definite knowledge. Dogma is also to a certain extent definite knowledge. Okay. Now the question is, the two factors that mold us, shape us from day one, they only give us definite knowledge, okay, absolute knowledge, perfect knowledge, okay. Then the question is, are we almost like one of the most important systems here, okay? So then the question is, okay, what is philosophy? Is there a way for philosophy to jump in? Okay, if we look for science and religion which affects us, which bothers us, okay, is ultimately gives us definite knowledge, okay, then why philosophy? Okay, we never came to that. So ultimately philosophy, it does this. It is intermediate between both science and religion. Okay, questions that neither science nor religion can ask. Okay, what are some of the questions that the science will ask? Some scientific questions. Can you imagine? What? Space, yes. Yes, how to go to space, how to come back. Okay, all these are questions there. Okay, what are some of the questions of religion? No religious questions? Yeah, what about God? Does God exist? Okay, where do I go after my life? Okay, is there afterlife? All these are questions. Then what is a philosophical question? Can you think of a philosophical question? Come on, some philosophical questions. A question that is neither science nor religion can answer. Is there something like that? That is where philosophy begins. What is it? Meaning of life, yes. So why do you think that is a philosophical question? Yes, so that is the most important philosophical question. Okay, why? What is the meaning of life? So even before you ask that question, there is another question comes. What is that? What is life? Yes. Okay. So I know you are very smart. So there are so many philosophical questions. Okay. Why is there something rather than nothing? Have you ever thought of that? Okay, even science might begin with that, but then they will not have any clue to that because they need something to work with. Okay. But philosophers can work with even if there is nothing. Okay. So very weird. So who am I? That's a question that probably she asked. Okay. What is real? Have you ever seen anything real? Is this real? Yes? Okay, this is a serious problem. Okay, you will be confused after 10 minutes of discussion. Don't worry, I will not discourage you. Do we have free will? Does God exist? Is there life after death? What is the best moral system? So these are all couple of philosophical questions. Okay, there you can find more of them. The best part of it is that probably there is no answer to these questions. You can't find an answer. Okay, so if you find an answer to a question, then there is no more query. Okay, that's what happens to science. Okay, so I'm not discouraging any science and science quest kind of thing, but philosophy comes where you never stop thinking. Okay, for instance, the question, who am I? Okay, so madam, who are you? Yes. Who are you?
If you ask me who am I will just say my name and...
Yes. So are you your name? Are you your name?
No.
No? Then who are you? She will not tell you because she may not even know who she is. Okay?
If you ask me who am I will say my name.
Yes. So are you your name?
No.
No? Of course, so you can't say that.
I'm a human.
You are a human, yes, so show us that. So question is, who are you?
I'm a human having the name Amelia Sarah Matthew,
Yes.
coming from Ernakulam district
Yes.
of Kerala.
Yes. So that is you. Okay, how many of you think that is she?
None of them got
None of them may not know by now. Okay, sit. Okay, very good. At least you have an identity. Okay. Now let's not go deep into that. But does that satisfy this question? Who am I? What if you were to have another name? You were to come from Coimbatore. Okay? So what would have happened?
My identity will
Your identity will change. That will become, but is that you? No. So this is a problem. At least she is thinking philosophically, she is thinking. Okay? So there are serious problem with some of these things. But science will give you a definite answer. Okay? It will give you, an Aadhaar card kind of thing that will definitely prove your identity. But philosophy does not end there. Okay? It keeps on asking. At the end of the day, you will not even know, who you are. Okay? Who is closest to you? Who is closest to you? Yeah, anytime. Okay, who is closest to you? Parents? Okay, yeah, somebody said, what is that? Yourself. Okay, have you attended any philosophy class? No, okay, yeah. So, who is closest to you? Yourself. Okay, you may not know this because, you are busy with Free Fire and PUBG and many other things, okay? But gradually, the more we think about some of these questions, we come closer to knowing some of these very fundamental questions of philosophy. Okay, that who am I, why I exist, where am I going, what is my identity, okay, and none of these things will have anything like an Aadhaar card, okay, you will not have, but keep that in mind that these are some of the philosophical questions and these questions can never be answered by science or religion, okay, it cannot answer, okay, that's why they are philosophical questions, okay, serious problems, okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so philosophy is a systematic study of the foundations of human knowledge which ask simply ultimate questions. Now what do you mean by ultimate questions? Okay, extremely big questions. Okay, that is philosophy, don't worry. While every other science aims to investigate specific areas of knowledge, okay, philosophy goes on with something called thinking about thinking. Okay, now that's what we never do. Okay, we might think but we never think about thinking, our own thinking. Okay, that is called meta thinking. Okay, thinking about thinking. Now, philosophy helps us to do something like that. Okay, philosophy attempts to discover meaning and purpose of our own existence. Okay, so even before we move into AI, thinking machines, and a lot of other things that come along, we have to understand the meaning of our own existence. Okay, so through various ways, intellectual means, self-reflection, religious practices, all these are part of it. Okay, so finally, philosophy simply goes along with a critical inquiry. What do you mean by critical inquiry? Critical inquiry, an inquiry which is absolutely critical. Okay, you have to critique. Critique means what? To show some problems of your own thinking. Okay, that is how you think about thinking. You have to find problems, limitations to our own thinking. Only then we can start a critical inquiry. Okay. So, and that leads towards something called self-reflection. That's what I asked you. Who is closest to you? Who is that? Your own self, nobody else. Okay? Have you ever found this person closest to you? How many of you have found this person closest to you? You don't have to put up your hand, okay? Because it's a long journey. Okay? Even if you ask Socrates when he was about to die, probably he may not have said, well, I found myself. Okay? So this is a journey that we all have to live. Okay, and then how do you think philosophy originated? How did philosophy originate? Two very small things. Here, wonder and curiosity. Okay, only these two things that has led to philosophy. And then where do you find these qualities? In whom? In you? Definitely no, maybe in her. There's a small fellow there. There's another one there. Okay, you may find these qualities there because they have not yet got mobiles clearly in their hand, right? Yes? Yeah. No. So that is wonder and curiosity. That's the only thing that can lead to philosophy. Any questions, let me know. You can put up your hand. Mics are there. Okay, and then we can clarify and then proceed. Okay. So let's move on with little bit of how philosophy and science began, okay, and then the scientific quest that began. So there is somebody called, do you know some philosophers, early philosophers? Have you heard some names? Somebody said about Kafka and all those. Do you know about some Western philosophers of pre-Socratic or Socratic philosophers? Aristotle. Have you ever heard of Aristotle? Yes, Aristotle. Okay, who was the teacher of Aristotle? Who? Who was the teacher of Aristotle? Socrates, yes. Who was a student of Socrates? Plato, yes. That is a journey, okay. Socrates, the student of Socrates is Plato. Plato's student is Aristotle. And who was Aristotle's student? Alexander the Great, okay. And where did Alexander come to? Yes. And where did he come to India? Yes. And he had to run back. Why? Because there are mosquitoes here. He couldn't tolerate mosquitoes, okay. So, I mean, the story is, if you are taught by philosophers like Aristotle, you can conquer the whole world. Okay, Alexander Great did that. So, there were pre-Socratic philosophers, okay. We are talking about some 2,400 years ago, okay, from now. Okay, that's a history. 6th and 5th century BC Greek thinkers, they were recognized, in history as the first philosophers, okay. They were the first philosophers. Pre-Socratics were mostly concerned with the nature, okay, and how we acquire certain knowledge from there, okay. So that's why when you see Aristotle called them investigators of nature. So science already began there, okay, in a systematic way, understanding all about the nature. However, Socrates turned this science into the self, okay, understanding. So investigating the nature is one thing, but then also understanding it's all about the meaning of the self and all those things. Okay, except for the sophists. Sophists is a group of philosophers where even Socrates belonged. Okay, so they were asking the questions about our own existence, the meaning of the self, and things like that. So the pre-Socratics were concerned with the primordial question: what is the foundation on which everything stands? Okay, so this is a question that even science will ask. Okay, what is reality? Who am I? So they found an answer to all these questions from the external world, from science. Okay, so that is a story of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, as somebody said there. So the great philosophers, and there are many others who came after them, who are giants in philosophy and thinking. So this is Socrates, and some of the very interesting. I'm not going to discuss in detail, but how we can understand Socrates by listening to some of these quote from him. One thing only I know that is that I know nothing. You might have heard this somewhere. Okay, so you know what kind of thinking that is. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. Okay, keep that in mind. An unexamined life is not worth living. So these are all Socratic, very famous Socratic saying. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Okay, so those who are interested can read about these philosophers later. Okay, just giving you some clue. Coming to Plato, a little bit of Plato and then his way of thinking is important to understand philosophy. So I'll take 5 to 10 minutes and let's see what it is. So our topic is the thinking machines and thinking humans. Okay, so we have to know why there is some difference in our own way of looking at reality. So what is real? What is real? Is this chalk real? Is it real? How real is it? You can see it, therefore it is real. You can touch it, therefore it is real. Okay, what if you can't touch it? No more real? What if you can't see it?
In case of this job,
Yeah.
we can say that it's real because we can touch it and use it.
Yes. So what if you can't see or touch this chalk? Then it is not real?
We can touch it, right?
Yeah, now, but I am going to write for half an hour and then it disappears. Then what happens? Dust. Then there is no chalk. Okay, so is this real? Something real cannot disappear. Don't argue with me on that. Yes, it has moved from this time to that time. And it has moved from chalk to dust. Right? Yes, you call it a dust. Don't call it a chalk. Chalk dust, yeah, that's another name. So where is the chalk? Chalk doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so is this chalk real? Is this real? This is a very serious problem, because from waking to sleep until we cease to exist, that means until we die, okay, we see things, as she said, we feel, we'll touch, okay. The question is, are they real? Are you looking for something real? And then we live only a little time, okay, 80 years, 90 years, if you calculate that, it's only like 30,000 days, that's all. Or 40,000 days only, I have lived half of that. Okay, little more left. Okay, so have you ever looked at anything real? This is a question. So this is not real? Now we have questions. Okay, yes.
So, do you say that things that can change their form are not real?
I have never said that. Okay, that might become another thing, like chalk dust, as she named it, or dust. But my question is, where is this chalk? Sit. Okay, so it disappears. Okay, so the question is it real? So don't worry, I'm not going more into that, but think about the reality. Okay, anything that we are trying to think about, anything that we are trying to understand, we try to feel, we see, are they real? Okay, you may have to look at your ChatGPT after the lecture. Okay, see what is the definition of reality. Okay, if something comes today and then dies tomorrow, then that is not real. That's what Plato will call as appearance. Okay, something may be appearing in front of you. Yes, you can see it, feel it, touch it, but are they real? This is a question. So appearance and reality, these two are totally different. Okay, so we have to look for things which are real. Now this leads to something called epistemological problem. That is a problem of knowledge. Now she said she knows, okay, there is a real chalk. Now is it a real knowledge? No, it's a serious problem, because if you have to have knowledge, it has to be of reality. Okay, if you have some ideas about something that comes today and goes tomorrow, then it is not knowledge. You cannot call it knowledge, because that is a great term, right? Knowledge. I know. Okay, you know of something that dies tomorrow, never exists. Okay, then well, that can be what we can say it as opinion. So there is a difference between knowledge and also opinion. Okay, opinion you can have, you can say, you can talk, maybe an elephant is just outside the door. Okay, it's an opinion. That is not knowledge. Okay, so these are all problem with the issue of understanding what is real. Okay, so how can experience prove the notion of truth? Now, as some of you said, I see it, I touch it, I feel it, therefore you say that, well, I know, I have knowledge. Then the question is, how can mere experience prove the notion of truth? Have you ever seen truth? This truth, okay, not the previous one. Truth. Where have you seen truth? Where have you experienced truth? Where have you seen beauty? Has anyone seen beauty? Okay, let me come back to my, so is this a perfect circle? Is it a circle? Consider this as this poor man's circle, don't worry. But is it a perfect circle? No? Okay, so now you may say that, well, this is slightly perfect. Okay, so is it a perfect circle? No? Okay, is it a circle? Somewhat my circle, okay, but it's not a perfect circle. Now my question to you is, where did you see perfection? How do you know perfection? How do you have the idea of perfection? Where did you see perfection? Any idea? Who has seen perfection? Okay, where? In the nature, where? Where? Look to the sun. You see a circle of sun, but my question is not the circle of a sun, shape of a sun. My question is, where did you see perfection? Now forget about the circle and sun. Think about the perfection. Have you seen perfection anywhere? But do you have idea of perfection? Yes? Okay. So is it something that you experience? That you have experienced, but you still have this idea? Where do you see beauty? Have you seen beauty anywhere? Where? Shah Rukh Khan? No? Or a beautiful sunset is beautiful. Okay, but where did you see beauty? This is a question. We have never seen beauty. We have seen beautiful things. Okay, so these two are different. I'm not going again. Mathematics, okay, I'm sure we know about numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, but where have you seen them? Have you seen anywhere? You can ask great mathematicians here. Okay, they've been doing big research. Also, where they have seen number 1, 2, 3. We have never seen them, but they exist. Okay, so these, and we do not experience. So therefore, when we talk about the reality, okay, we have to go much deeper into understanding what is the meaning of the word real. Okay, is beauty real? Yes? Is perfection real? Okay? Is this chalk real? Now, if this chalk has to be real, okay, it should stand beyond all forms of destruction. And what is that form of the chalk that might stand even if you close your eyes? Can you close your eyes and think about this chalk? Yes? What comes into your mind? The chalk. Yes? Now, does that chalk undergo any problem? Any corruption? Any issues? No? Okay? In philosophers call that the chalkiness of the chalk. The chalkiness of the chalk. Okay? Don't worry. It's very simple. Similarly, okay, I asked you who is closest to you. Who is that? Yourself. Have you seen that person? No? Okay? Now, you can see only that person in this form of reality. Okay? Because you can never see that person. You can never feel that person. But you know that there is such person. Okay? These are all serious issues in line with thinking. So, if there is a real you, it is not the you that is there looking at me. Okay? There has to be a real you. Probably that you have to understand a lot of thinking. Okay? So, Plato goes on with a simple allegory of the cave, which I am not going to discuss because of the interest of time. Okay, there's not much time. It's a story that he says, you know, that people are quite happy with looking at Xerox copies. Okay, so will you be happy if I give you an ice cream or a Xerox copy of an ice cream? An ice cream. Okay, what will you do with a Xerox copy? A picture of an ice cream. Okay, so probably Plato is saying, most of the time, I look at something and say, I see reality because I see the Xerox copy of a chalk. Okay, and where is a real chalk? It is somewhere. You have no idea. So this is what he goes on with this allegory of the cave, which I thought of discussing a little more further, but that might take a little more time. But so I'm not going deep into that. But the reality, if it has to be real, it has to continue to exist. Okay, it cannot end, you know, it cannot be born today and then die tomorrow. Okay, so keep this argument in your mind as we proceed with the rest of the discussions. And this is a crux of philosophy. Okay, and this is also called metaphysics. What is metaphysics? What is physics? Yes, pardon? That studies about physics. Okay, what you see around the physical nature. What is metaphysics? What is metaphysics? What do you mean by meta? Meta simply means beyond. Okay, metaphysics. So studies that go beyond physical things. Okay, that is metaphysics. So this is physics or metaphysics? This is physics. Okay, you see the existence of it, but knowing about the reality of this chalk is all about metaphysics. Okay, so this is, keep that in mind. That is the backbone of philosophy. Okay, and the first most important branch of philosophy is metaphysics. Okay, so at least keep that in mind. Do you have any questions? Any doubt? It's your first and last philosophy lecture, so no problem. Okay. Okay, so let's move on with from thinking humans to thinking machines. So if you look at human evolution, human history, okay, maybe like 12,000 years ago we started settling down and then from this nomadic life into farming, okay, cultivating, that created societies, okay, villages, groups, okay, and then all that we are up to now, like 12 to 13, 14,000 years ago, okay. So we can imagine that the wheel, the invention of wheel extended our legs, okay, yes. The telescope extended our eyes, okay. The internet, okay, it has changed the way we communicate, we understand, okay. And AI, again, it tries to change the way we think, okay, how we understand the world, okay, and then it is extending our own intelligence. Okay, that's probably only thing we could not see outside. Okay, we can say that the nature is intelligent because seasons change so beautifully. Okay, beyond that, there is some quality that we as humans hold, which we consider as intelligence. Okay, but now AI has come. Okay, it is almost taking that further in a much better way. AI systems today can converse with us. Okay, you will know definitely, it can write poetry, okay, solve equations, solve all kind of problems, okay, even generate ideas. For the first time in history, we are interacting with machines which can simulate thinking. Okay. Now, for instance, we have machines, maybe this camera, okay. You can interact, okay, or you go to a Xerox shop, there is a machine which will do some job for you. But now, these are not the machines that we are talking about. Machines can, the moment you stand there, it can know who you are, okay, what is your thoughts, whether you are hungry or not, what kind of meal to order, all this can happen today, okay. So there are machines that can simulate thinking. While technology changes the world, philosophy helps us to understand certain realities that underlie these changes, okay. So probably our ages, those who are 40s and 50s, we would have gone through a time when there was no screen, okay, to a kind of black and white screen, okay, and then to some kind of phones, landlines. Now, though, you may not have even seen those things. You people are born into smartphone era already, okay. But if you see these changes, you will see that there are so many things have changed over the time. Okay, from zero screen to most developed touch screens that we have today. So things have changed. But philosophy, if we understand in deeper, I am not propagating anything about philosophy, but it will help us to think the way we look at the world. Okay, so what is artificial intelligence? Okay, it refers to computer systems in simple designed to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Okay, that is in simple sense AI. Okay, so far we have machines. Okay, we invented wheels. Okay, we invented many other things. Okay, but today we have machines which will do our job. Okay, which can do our job far better than as we do. For instance, it can recognize faces. Okay, understanding language, text. It can recommend videos. It can drive vehicles all around. Okay, which probably who thought it could happen. Generating images, answering questions, all those things. Okay, it is so beautifully happening today. So we know that there are machines which can actually substitute a human person, and you will not even know. There are some theories of that sort is coming. AI systems learn patterns from enormous amount of data. Okay, it's a data collection. You will see that for instance, Google Maps. So simply, so easy, and we use it everywhere. How does it guide you? Okay, it tells you take this route because there is traffic jam. Okay, because it it learns, it understands, and then it guides you. Okay, so these are all you will know these things far better. How YouTube, it also learns the way you watch, what you watch, how you watch, how many hours you watch, what kind of thing it learns, and then it adapts, and then it might even suggest the creators create certain contents specifically for you. All those things can happen. So AI is not science fiction anymore. Okay, it has become part of our life. It was science fiction for us when we used to watch movies in the 80s and 90s, but now it is no more a science fiction. It is part of our life. We live with it. We understand. We use it. Okay, we can't even do anything without asking certain questions to ChatGPT or whatever that we look at. So most AI systems today do not think the way we think. Now this is what I'm not going to, your 10 days, I'm sure you will have a lot of things about AI and things like that. But my purpose, this first lecture and probably your first and last philosophy lecture, let's see what is this thinking that is different, that machines thinking and me thinking or my thinking. Okay, they are extremely good at pattern recognition because AI is go on with that. Now for instance, how does AI know that a cat is a cat? Okay, because it recognizes patterns. Okay, hundreds and thousands, and then it finally, whenever it sees something like that, it says, oh, okay, there is a cat. Now the question is, that knowing, is it different from you knowing what is a cat? This is a problem. Okay, so what is actually, okay, does it experience affection towards a cat? We do not know. Maybe in another 10-20 years we may have AI that can even do things which we can't even imagine at the moment. Okay, does it understand what it means to care for a living being? Because these are all questions that we have to ask. Okay, especially when we think that we are thinking being, we are creating thinking machines. Okay, probably not. That's at the moment, but definitely I will remove that after 10-20 years. Things might change. Okay, so this difference between processing information and understanding is all about the philosophical problem. Okay, so one is all about processing information. Okay, so probably we also might do that in our everyday life. We process information, but we may not know anything about what is existing. Okay, understanding. So processing is different from understanding. So humans do not merely process data, okay? We should not become a department of data science. Okay? That is not the meaning of our existence. Okay? We should experience the world. And how do you experience the world? How many of you have seen a sunrise? Yes, many of us have seen a sunrise. Okay? Many of us not, because we wake up only at 10 o'clock. Okay? By the time sun is always up there. Okay? And then why you wake up at 10 o'clock? Because you slept only at 4 o'clock. Okay? So this is the problem. Our life has moved in a totally different way. Okay? So how do we experience the world? Okay? There is something called circadian rhythm and all that. I'm not going deep into that. Those are interested, you can see. We sleep when the world sleeps, when the sun sleeps. There is a time, there is a clock, all those things are there. Very interestingly, but ultimately the world is in such a way that we fail to experience many of these things. We feel, experience love, we have memories, we dream, we suffer, we hope. These are all part of our existence. But unfortunately, we may not see, we may not experience any of these things because, there are so many other things. Okay? A machine may simulate conversation about emotions, but does not actually feel emotions. Okay? These are all problems, issues that we will find. Thinking about humans in the age of AI. So let's see why philosophy is important. Okay, again, I'm not a proponent of that, but at the same time, let's see how that works. Many of us think that philosophy is only about old books. Okay, when you think about a philosopher, whom do you think about? Somebody with a gray beard. For me, it doesn't grow that well. Okay, maybe after a few years, you might see me different. Okay, old books, old people. Okay, thinking about abstract ideas, the chalkiness. Okay, these are all problems. Okay, of philosophy. But at the same time, there is something more that we have to think about. Thinking philosophically simply means thinking critically. I introduced that little before. Let's see what is it. What is a critical thinking? Okay, so let's say you hear a new diet plan. Okay, very easily now you find everywhere. Okay, that will guarantee you reducing your weight. Okay, tremendously. But if you apply critical thinking, then you start asking questions. Okay, who conducted this research? What sample size has been used for this research? Okay, and then why should I eat that medicine instead of waking up at 6 o'clock and running 2 kilometers? Okay, this kind of questions. So asking such questions instead of merely what is fed into our mind is called a critical thinking. Okay, that is called a critical thinking, and that is called a Socratic method. Okay, that is also called a dialectic method. Now, what is a dialectic method? In simple sense, it is like this. It is a dialogue. Okay, so philosophical problems, the way we can think is always to think about a dialogical method, dialectic method. Okay, dialogue. So suppose you have a problem that is called, in philosophy, it is called thesis. Okay, there is a thesis. Okay, and then if you have a thesis, there is always something called antithesis. Don't worry much about this, but we'll put how this Socratic method, a dialectic method works. So every thesis is a stand. Okay, stand that you take, and definitely that stand will have an opposite stand. Okay, that is called thesis and antithesis. But so they always go in conflict. Okay, so when there is a lot of conflict, finally there is something called synthesis. Okay, the conflict is solved. Okay, so this is what actually happens in science. Okay, we have two theorems, study, work it out, and third one comes. Okay, now the third one, which is a synthesis, itself becomes a thesis finally. Okay, and then if there is a thesis, there is a antithesis. If there is a thesis and antithesis, then there is a synthesis, and this synthesis become thesis again. This is called a critical thinking. Okay, which means your thinking never stops. Okay, whatever you think will have an answer, definitely. Okay, that is the synthesis. Okay, now this does not end there. If it ends there, then you are not a philosopher. Okay, it will be like science or religion because it ends there. It cannot proceed. Okay, philosophy always goes into this way of understanding. Okay. Okay, so AI systems can generate enormous amount of information, but information is merely not wisdom. Now we talked about wisdom. What is philosophy means? Love of wisdom. Philosophia means love of wisdom. So if you love wisdom, it's not merely processing information. It cannot be. That's what happens today. Okay, processing information. So AI is all about data, Data that is gathered, processing, and giving out some results. Okay, but that is not thinking. That is not critical thinking. Okay, you have to follow this technique. An issue has to be solved. We'll find an answer. Answer becomes another issue. Okay, so that is called like critical thinking. So let us consider some other philosophical issues. Okay, like for instance, ethics, truth, identity, and freedom. Suppose a self-driving car faces an unavoidable accident. Who is to be held responsible? Okay, who? One who programmed it, one who made it. Okay, or do you take this car to the court? Okay, and then put it behind a bar. Okay, so these are all serious problems. So ethics is all about us humans. Okay, that's what makes us human beings, because there is something called ethics that work. Truth, misinformation, AI can generate fake videos. Now there is something called a deep fakes. We don't know what is truth. Okay, you may say that this is the truth about somebody saying something, and next day that person himself comes and says, no, I did not say that. That itself may be another deep fake video, because we have no idea what is truth. Okay, so how do we know what is real? How do we protect truth in the digital world? These are all serious issues that young people like you should be thinking about. Philosophy teaches skepticism is to doubt, because skepticism is always about this. Whatever comes into your mind, you should not accept. Okay, you should always put a question to it. Ask, why is it? What is it? What is the meaning of it? Reasoning, careful thinking, all these are part of philosophical way of understanding. So human identity, if AI can write essays, compose music, create art, then what makes human creativity something special? Okay, if AI can do everything, then what is your purpose? Okay, so these are all questions. Perhaps creativity is not merely conducting output, it is connected to experience, suffering. This is something that do you think an AI suffers? Which AI suffers? Your ChatGPT suffers when you ask a question. Okay, these are some interesting things. And even Peter Singer, he will say that even animals can, one very close relation between we and animal is that they also suffer like us. But does your ChatGPT suffer? Your Free Fire suffers? No? What is Free Fire? Okay, okay, don't worry. Our students also play that sometimes. Memory and emotion, okay, all these are part of us, okay, human identity. Freedom and control. Are humans free? Are you free? Are you free? Yes? Yes. A lot of debates. At your age, you may say, no, not at all, because you cannot drive a two-wheeler without a helmet, a license. Therefore, you are not free. Okay, so that is not freedom. Okay, that is not freedom. That is not the meaning of freedom, but so are humans free? Yes, we are free. Okay, that's what it's a lot of debate to come to this conclusion, but not time for that. Algorithms increasingly influence what we watch, okay, what we buy, okay, what we believe, everything. Okay, that's what you see. Are we truly making free choices? That's the question. Okay, though you say that you are free, but most of your everyday life, your movement, what food to eat, what to buy, okay, what to talk, okay, what to lecture to give, all these are influenced. Therefore, do you take decisions? So philosophy helps us to make decisions, provided we go back into a critical thinking. Okay, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is thinking about thinking. Thinking about thinking. Okay. Can machines think? Yes, machines do think. We don't know. Let's see some of the old theories that has come about. You might have heard about this Turing test and Chinese room argument. Have you heard? Yes, very simple, as simple as this. So one of the most famous questions on philosophy is, how do you know that machines think? Okay, so Alan Turing, okay, that's a famous philosopher, British mathematician. So he came up with this question of, can machines think? Okay, so the conclusion is, the famous Turing test. Do you know what it is? As simple as this. Imagine you are chatting with two hidden participants, okay, one human and another one is a machine, okay, and if you get an output, okay, which is very similar to that of a human, then probably you will consider that person as a intelligent. Okay, so reliable to distinguish the machine from the human conversation, then the machine may be considered as intelligent. Okay, so there are a lot of examples. This is what I usually show. Hey Siri. Now, is that a human or machine? Why? it's so closer to some of your voice, right? Okay, so Siri is very close. So how do you make this difference? Okay, so we do not know. So today AI systems can impress people in conversations. Your ChatGPT can talk. It talks back to you as if it is like a human. Okay, you cannot even distinguish. So that is the extent of Alan Turing test must have. If he is today, probably we don't know what kind of thought he would have come up with. But now we know that they can definitely imitate. Okay, the way we think. Okay, is imitation same as understanding? That's the question. You can go on talking to Siri or ChatGPT. Okay, you can get answers, but is imitation same as understanding? Okay, you know what a cat is. You know what an AI will also know what a cat is. But what is the meaning of care? Okay, what is the meaning of being with a cat? That's that this AI knows. That's a question that we had to ask. What is Chinese room? American. That's spelling me. American philosopher John Searle. Okay, John Searle. He came up with this famous Chinese room argument. So he said that you in a Chinese room, in a room with certain Chinese symbols. Okay, the Chinese symbols are interesting, signs, and then it means something. Okay, but the answer is, suppose you put somebody who does not know Chinese, okay, into a room, okay, and then put some of these symbols. Probably this would mean, say, day. Okay, and then if the machine looks at this and then say that, well, this symbol means day, then you say that, well, that is an intelligent being out there. Okay, it can also happen to you. Okay, if you see all these symbols and then you just map the symbols, it will tell you, yeah, well, this is right. So truth and falsity not merely dependent on certain signs that you can calculate and understand. Okay, so that is Chinese room. Who from outside it appears the room understands Chinese. Okay, because it gives you the answer, correct answer. But there is a problem. So this is again the issue of understanding. So if machines do understand certain things, does that mean are they thinking? Okay, the question. So Searle argued that computers may manipulate symbols without truly understanding meaning. Okay, if you really require an output, it will give you. Okay, we also can look at certain symbols and say that this is a meaning. Okay, but does that mean understanding has happened? Okay, very serious problem. So this pushes into another serious issue of AI thinking and our thinking, that is all about consciousness. Okay, consciousness. So what is consciousness? It is experience of our own awareness. So what else? Any understanding of consciousness? How many of you are conscious here? All of us. Nobody is unconscious. Conscious and unconscious is not consciousness. Okay, consciousness is different from being conscious. Okay, so you are awake from waking to sleep, you are conscious. That is different from consciousness. So consciousness is the meaning of your own awareness. Okay, knowing that you exist, awareness of yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, these are all part of consciousness. Okay, and then the world around you. Okay, how many of you have seen sunset? Most of us. Okay, sunrise, hardly any one of us. Okay, because we are not awake. At the simplest level, consciousness is what it feels like to be you. That is the meaning of consciousness. That's why I asked you, who is closest to you? Only this person closest to you will know about consciousness. Okay, and then all this require this method of thinking about thinking. Hardly we think now. We have no time to think. Okay, because somebody else thinks for us. Either ChatGPT or our mobile phones or somebody else. So that is consciousness. We'll go much deep into that. Do we have consciousness? Yes, because we can do this. Okay, but are we exercising it? It's a serious problem. May not. We may not even are aware that we have something called consciousness, because we have never thought about ourselves, the person closest to you. Do machines have consciousness? That's a very serious problem. Do machines have consciousness? What do you think? Okay, so they are aware. Okay, does that mean they are conscious? Okay, it's quite serious problem that can come about. Thinking is more complex, okay, and than merely thinking, solving problems. Solving problems are like the Chinese room. Okay, it can definitely solve problems. So AI can calculate, but we can care. Okay, that's something. AI can optimize. Humans can give meaning. Okay, to optimization. is not giving meaning to something. Okay, we can recognize, AI can recognize, but then we can care, all this kind of thing. AI can imitate language, but we can experience life. So these are all different way we think about our own thinking, our own existence. Okay, am I boring too much? Little bit? Very little? Yeah, okay. Any questions? Let me know. Okay, this is also ending. So now what is the future that we can think? Well, a lot of things are happening in this. I'm sure you will become aware of it more in this sense. You will also talk about it. You will talk about your own professors here who are expert in this area. Okay. So, but at the same time, what is it that being a human, along with these, extremely complicated thinking machines, okay, who can even substitute our own existence, who can even mimic our own voice, okay, we may not even know whether it is Siri or somebody else, okay, all this, but at the same time, what is it? So, if you look at again back to history, technology is what has paved, okay, science and technology, okay, science quest, science and technology has worked so much into the way we are today. Okay, we are here only because there is something called technology. Where does this word technology come from? Where does it come from? Dictionary? Where does that word technology come from? What is it? It comes from the Greek word called techne. We again go back to the Greeks. Comes from a Greek word called techne. What do you mean by techne? What is techne? Technology, coming from the Greek word techne. Techne simply means to open up, to reveal, to discover. That's the meaning of techne. That's why we use technology for everything. And when you use technology, what are you doing? You are revealing something. Revealing what? Revealing the truth. What else do you reveal? Okay, philosophically thinking. Okay, when you reveal, technologically, you're supposed to be revealing the truth. So that is technology. That has been revealing, opening up. So machines changed agriculture. Okay, now if you look at your classrooms, offices, computers, invention that has changed everything. Okay, and internet, it has changed all the way we communicate. Okay, the future will not belong only to those who know technology. It will be to somebody who can come. Now, there is no reversal. We cannot think like going back to the life of Robinson Crusoe, okay, far away, all alone, somewhere in a village. Not possible. Okay, so technical skill, we have to combine technical skill. Okay, not forgetting ethics, communication, and above all, critical thinking. Okay, before I conclude, let me end with a couple of these things. In other words, the future belongs to those who have empathy, moral judgment, leadership, compassion, imagination, and wisdom. Okay, some of these things put together. Not somebody who has the latest iPhone. Okay, that is very much important for us to survive, live, okay, to buy something, okay, to communicate. But that is not the end. Okay, so when you buy a mobile, what comes along with that? Free Fire? No. Charger doesn't come nowadays, only a cable comes. Okay, what comes? A bill, of course. What else? The parents are saying that. Okay, what do you get along with a mobile? You get a instructional manual, right? Nobody's seen that, because you know it already. Now, are there really instructional manual, operational manual, or a user manual? Does it user manual? Okay, does it actually help you to use it? No, it does not tell you what to do. That's why we always misuse our phones. Okay, it does not tell you how to use it. Okay, as a user manual only tells you how to operate it. They should change that to instructional manual, not a user manual, because we do not know how to use even after using it. So this is all left to us. Okay, we have technology with us, we have AI with us. Our future, your future, especially your 20s and 30s, are going to be absolutely different, not like ours. Okay, but then the point is, a technologically advanced society without ethics can philosophy and ethics are one and the same. Okay, can become very, very dangerous. Okay, this is a problem. So what makes us unique? Okay, a couple of things. Is it intelligence? Definitely no, because machines are becoming more intelligent than us. Is it memory? Definitely no, because you can just keep adding memories to the system. Is it speed? Of course not. You can add more, what is that called? RAM. Okay, then your speed is super. But what is it that actually makes us? Okay, our ability to ask some of the philosophical questions, which are also known as fundamental questions. Very fundamental questions. What are these fundamental questions? The question that we asked in the beginning: why do we exist? What is justice? What is beauty? Some of these questions we have never asked. Have you ever seen a sunrise? This is a question. Why there is something rather than nothing? Some of these questions. What is a good life? Okay, these are all part of a meaningful existence. So our ability to search for meaning, our ability to ask fundamental questions, our ability to suffer, love, beauty, hope, all these things. Okay, our life is not merely a computation. This is what we have to understand. Okay, that's what makes us absolutely unique from whatever is our companion. Okay, so in a couple of, okay, I'm ending. This is the last, and then one more slide. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Okay, those who can answer, let me know. So if AI can do homework, write poetry, compose music, and generate art, what will humans still learn for themselves? How to use AI. Okay, so how to use AI is you can use AI to do all this. Okay, so what is then ultimately, what will humans still learn just using a technology? So will you ever learn to write a poetry? The mic is there. Will you ever learn to write a poetry? It's not working. Any answer? Okay, question number 2. Let me see who will answer this. Would you trust an AI teacher more than a human teacher if the AI knew exactly how you learn best? Whom do you trust? Your teacher or an AI teacher? Who teaches better? Human? Don't say that to make me happy. Okay? AI teacher is far better, right?
Because AI makes less mistakes than real teachers.
Real teachers. Okay? Yeah, but I'm not giving any conclusion here. That will be absolutely bad. Okay, but there are possibilities of thinking about this. Okay, because you might become a teacher someday, and then what if your students tell you that? Okay, you are lost. Okay, AI also can make errors. Yes, it can also lead you to some ditches instead of the road. Okay, the people have died following Google Maps. Okay, in India maybe mostly. Okay, so there are problems, but think about some of these things. Our own existence. I'm not looking at any teachers here. I myself am a teacher. Okay, but we have to see, how we are, what we are, especially in the midst of all this. If a robot saves a human life, should it receive a moral credit? No. Why?
You should give that to the person who created.
Who invented it?
Yes.
Okay, not to the robot.
No.
Why not? So the morality can go only to humans. But you are saying it now. Maybe will you say the same after 20 years?
Yes.
Yes?
Sure.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, we do not know. I have no answer to these questions. But let us think about it. Can an AI ever be wise or only intelligent? Yes, madam.
According to me, AI can only be intelligent because wisdom comes from subjective experience.
Yes.
And from our experience, we gain wisdom and knowledge about life.
Yes. Yeah, very good. So, yeah. So, what is being wise? Being wise is different from being intelligent. Okay. Now, we don't know whether these machines are going to be wise. Okay, we have no idea. Okay. So, we call Socrates wise man. Okay, wise. Okay, because he was not only intelligent, something more. Now, this is a serious question. Let's run through this question. Should AI systems have the right to refuse unethical commands? What do you think? Should AI systems, whatever systems, have the right to refuse an unethical command? So, he said about ethics should be given to a moral agent who makes a system. Now, the question is, that person gives an unethical command to an operating system. Okay, should that system have the courage to say no to the boss?
AI should have the ability to distinguish between the ethics and the but nowadays, currently the AI has the informations.
Yes.
Just informations, but to distinguish between the unethical and ethical questions, it should have consciousness and,
Consciousness.
yes, morality,
Yes.
and things like that. So
Okay.
it is more related to humans, human wisdom, not just informations and patterns. I
Yes.
think.
So, but you did not answer this. So, should it refuse?
It should have the ability to distinguish between ethics and unethical, but
Yes. Yes, it
currently
is seeing an
doesn't have
unethical
that.
thing. It is seeing something unethical. So, it's a no.
First, it should have the ability to say that,
Yes.
but it doesn't have the ability to distinguish between them. So
Okay.
there is no.
All right. Very good.
We
Yes.
should
So,
not ask
maybe
this question right now.
maybe a time when it has an ability. We'll go to the next question. Okay. We don't have much time. If every answer becomes instantly available through ChatGPT or AI, what becomes the purpose of education? Any new voices? What is education is all about? Yes.
Even though AI have all the information,
Yes.
even though AI have all the informations, but education is actually coming from experiences.
Yes.
Like teachers like you have a lot of experience, so
Yes.
students can be built through experience.
Yes.
So AI is not a solution for that.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm not going to give any mark, okay? Saying that I'm a good teacher anyway. That doesn't matter. Okay, very good answer. Yes, the experience. Okay, AI also may have experience, but we don't know the experience that we have. Okay, like. So that's all. I'm ending the one more slide. The greatest danger of AI is not, okay, may not be that machines becoming like us, but that ultimately we end up becoming like machines. Okay, that is a whole problem that we have to think. So to conclude, AI changes how humanity understands itself, okay, oneself. It changes. That's what even the whole method of dialectics changes. Okay, we do think from waking to sleep, but we are never aware of what we are thinking. Okay, are we able to think beyond our own thinking? Probably we are not. Okay, so we have to see that machines may become more intelligent, but our ability to make right choices is the key. Okay, so that's all left to us. Okay, even if we are living with thinking machines, we are also thinking, but we have to know what kind of right choices that we are making at a given time. That's all about ethics. Technology and ethics must go together, of course. Do not forget ethics and philosophy. Integrate it in science and technology studies wherever you are, because this may be your first and last philosophy lecture. So I'm sure you may not attend at all. If you attend or not, make sure to integrate, a little bit of critical thinking. Even if you forget about philosophy, always think about your own thinking. Okay, that can help, especially into wherever you are. So use AI wisely and responsibly. Okay, so that is all I want to leave with you. I hope you have enjoyed. Okay, and then I wish you all the best. Any questions?
Sir, you said about the reality, about things being real, and you also stated that the things which comes to life and which destroys cannot be real. You said that. But if it should destroy, it should be real, right? The things which are not real, which is not here, cannot destroy. So I think that there is some confusion in that. So I would like answers from you.
Yeah, yes. So that's coming back to the philosophical problem. That's actually a very serious philosophical issue of knowing what is real and what is not real. Okay, especially coming to Plato, understanding reality and etc. If you have to explain that allegory of the cave, which I said, that would have explained this problem of what is real. Now, for philosophers, okay, their world of reality is different. Okay, that you have to understand. Okay, so nothing wrong in saying that this is a real chalk. There is nothing wrong. And then after Plato's student Aristotle, he came and said all that Plato said is stupidity. Okay, because how can you say that this is not real? The same question you are saying. Okay, but if he were to say that this is just a real chalk, then Aristotle is not a philosopher. Because the world of philosophers is what? What is that? It is a world of metaphysics. Okay, metaphysics. So that is where we look at a reality. Okay, So if I give you a xeroscopy of an ice cream, will you be happy, sir?
No.
No. Okay. Now this is what happens to the world. Now this is a simple way of explaining
Because
reality.
the xeroscopy of ice cream is not ice cream. Real
No, not ice cream. Yes. So that's why you are not happy. When will you be happy?
Real ice
When
cream.
you have the real ice cream. Now what is a real ice cream?
The ice cream that we get.
That
from-
will satisfy your tongue, your taste.
Yes.
Now for a philosopher, satisfying the tongue and taste is not anything at all. Okay, it should satisfy your
Because
intelligence.
he feels that.
Yeah.
So it should be real.
Yes, you-
Something that is not real cannot be felt, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. So that is not the world of philosophers.
So
Okay.
philosophy is something
Yes. Yeah,
That-
coming to that, something different.
different.
Different,
That
yes.
we cannot understand.
You cannot understand. Okay. For that you have to think. Yeah. Then you will definitely understand. That's what I am saying. Now there are 3 ice creams here. One is a xeroscopy. One is a real ice cream that you enjoy. Third one is the ice creamness of the ice cream. Now that is the world of the philosopher.
Okay.
Philosopher is neither happy with these two. Now that is where you really understand the ice cream. Okay. Now that has to happen. For instance, let me ask you, sir, what is love? What is love? Very difficult to understand. Okay. It's not about being with somebody. It's not sending some messages. This is not love at all. What is friendship? Is it taking somebody for a meal and then asking him to clear the bill? Okay. This is not a friendship. So you have to understand the friendshipness of the friendship. Okay. Now these are all how we understand philosophy. Okay. But nothing wrong in being with a friend. You meet so many people here. You walk out after 10 days. Okay. You may continue to be friends. But then if you have not understood the friendshipness of the friendship. Okay. Now that is a difference. Okay. Yes.
Sir, you said Plato experiences a different world. So does reality depends upon perspective?
Reality depends upon
Perspective.
perspectives. What do you mean by real? Let me ask you, what is this reality you are talking about?
Sir, you said that Plato experiences a different world.
Yes, not exactly. Plato, if we are going back to Plato, then there is a lot to talk about. Plato talks about 2 world theories. One is a world where we live, okay, Earth. One is the real world. Okay, this is a world of ideas. Okay, this is a very simple, you don't even have to think seriously, but since you asked this question, now for Plato, reality is only here. Okay, we are only here for some time. Here we see something like this, okay, and then we call it a circle. But at the same time, I will say, well, this is not a perfect circle because I know about this world where I have seen a perfect circle. Okay, therefore I have the idea of perfectness. Now you go a little more further into all that we discussed. You think about truth. Okay, you think about justice. Okay, you think about ethics. These are all much serious issues. Now, Plato is not simply talking about a little bit of reality or ice cream or chalkiness, but we have to move beyond into understanding the truth of some of these things which are so important for us to live. For instance, you know how to operate a mobile, but do you know how to use a mobile? Now, these two are different. Now, this meaning of how to use, okay, comes when we understand something about this world. Okay, though we are living in this world, okay, in this world we only see xeroscopies. Okay, for Plato will say, I see a chalk here and I say there is a real chalk, but that is not the case. Okay, because the chalkiness of the chalk is in this world. Okay, now little bit of theory here. You have to read Plato to understand some of these things. But the interesting part of this is that you being here, you know that there is something called ethics. There is something called justice. There is something called truth. So when I beat a child for no reason, you stand up and say that, well, that fellow is, okay, doing something injustice. Okay, he is being unjust. Okay, how do you know about justice? Where have you seen justice? Where have you seen what is right and wrong? We have never seen, but at the same time, you know that this is good, that is bad. Now this all comes from Plato's world of ideas, of understanding. So coming back to your question, Okay, probably it's not merely perspective. Okay, Plato was talking about how we understand reality. Okay, not merely if I say that, well, my friendshipness is only just being with somebody. Okay, then I don't understand what is the meaning of friendshipness. Okay, if I treat this object merely as a chalk, then I don't understand the chalkiness of the chalk. Now you can apply these things to environment, for instance. Okay, do you know what is GPGP? Never heard? Okay, it's called a Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Okay, now what is that? The little plastic bottle that you throw here ultimately reaches where? Pacific Ocean. It reaches ocean, and because of the ocean current, all these plastic get together at one spot. Okay, and you know what is the size of it? It is bigger than France. Okay, that's the size of the plastic accumulated in the ocean, and it is moving around there, and a lot of cleanup things are happening. Now, if you understand the meaning of existence, the nature that we have to live along with that, then where will you put the plastic bottle? In the bin. Okay, not in the stream. Now this understanding is where we have to move from here. Now that's what Plato is talking about. Plato is not interested in making you understand chalkiness. Plato wants to know that when you wake up tomorrow, are you going to live with some of these principles? Okay, that is where we understand. I hope that will also answer your question. Okay, so it's not merely about the chalkiness. It's about thinking about thinking. Okay, is that okay? I don't know whether I have answered since still you are standing and looking at me puzzled, but it's okay. Any other question? Yes.
The thing that comes and goes is not real. So you think that humans are not real? They are born and they die.
Yes.
Die one day. So you're trying to say that we are not real.
Yes and no. Okay, are you real? What is your name?
Elvin Draper.
Elvin. Okay, Elvin, where are you? Where are you? I'm asking, where are you? Yeah, is this person I'm seeing, is it Elvin?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm Elvin.
Where? Your eyes, your nose, your hands, is that Elvin?
No.
No, then where?
Totally Elvin.
Totally you. After 20 years, if I see, I will not even know you.
Okay.
So where are you? So this is a serious problem. Okay. So this person I am seeing is definitely not Elvin. What if your hand is gone, leg is gone? Still, are you Elvin?
Yes.
Yes. After 50 years, when you see me, you will not see me. Maybe after 30 years, when you see me, you will not even definitely you will not know who this fellow is. Okay. Then what happens to Anup? I mean, my name is Anup. Yes. What happens? So serious question. So yes and no. Now, what is this reality? That's what I asked you. Who is closest to you?
Me.
Me. Who is this me?
Elvin.
Not Elvin. You also would have been Tom, Dick or Harry. Okay? Or Martha, Mary or Jennifer. Okay? So, you are something else. So, who said what is there in a name? Shakespeare. He said, what is there in a name? Okay? Is there anything in a name? So, you can't say that I am Elvin. Because there is nothing in a name. What he is meaning is that you are something beyond, which you cannot see, definitely. You can tell me, look at my eyes, look at my hands, okay, I am coming from this, or somebody said I have an Aadhaar card, okay. All these are identity, but that is not you. Okay, that's what I said. It is not you that we see, but there is also some truth in that we see. Now, this is a little more into philosophy, where you have to understand this person closest to you. Who is that? Yes. Now, what do you call that? Mindness, okay, or Elvinness, maybe, I don't know what term after listening to Plato, but there is some truth about this person that I experience, I understand, okay, I know, okay, I feel with, I fight against, okay, there is somebody. With that, of course, my parents put Elvin, so I am that, but definitely not that. Okay, so that's what I said, there is yes and definitely no. Now, why this no comes? Because you have to search this person called Elvinness. You have to find. So, we start here, okay, we live for some time, we end there. Okay, so you may be somewhere here, I would have reached somewhere here, some of your parents would have reached somewhere here. Okay, definitely there is a journey that we go through. But even if you reach here, That's what we have to ask Socrates, whether he found himself or not. Okay, the real himself. Okay, this is all philosophy. Sorry to confuse you. Okay, thank you so much.
Sir,
Yes,
sir,
any new voice? We don't have much time. Your lunch will be waiting.
Yeah, this will be the last question. After that, we'll answer.
Yes.
ആർക്കിടല്ലേ ചോദിക്കുള്ളൂ?
They are all thinking about thinking, so you can ask.
Sir, so as this is the final question, for our satisfaction, at least for my satisfaction, can you just give me an example of something that is real? That is really real. Like you messed up with our heads and
Yeah,
you made us shut down. So
I've been messing up myself for so many years
so
now.
please give us an example of something that
I can
is
give you
real.
only one story, okay, that might help you. It is simply this. During my master's days, okay, I was doing my master's, and then we were finding for this answer, okay, what is real, okay, or to the question, who am I? We studied this for one entire semester, okay, and then we all wrote our exam, we all got A grade, okay, and then but the final answer was, this is a stupid question, let us close the semester. Okay. Okay, so easy, very easy.
You don't have to give any specific correct answer.
Definitely. It is absolutely easy provided you get into an IIT after some time. Okay, otherwise you won't even have your bread and butter. Okay, so very interesting question, very serious question, but very difficult to, at least I gave you the tools. Okay, I have nothing to show you what is real. Okay, this is not real, I am not real, the world is not real, you are not real. Okay, but nothing stops from this. Okay, at least my purpose was simply to give you the tools for thinking about that. Okay, I hope that is clear. Think about this, think about thinking, okay, find out who you are, what is the meaning of your own. Now, who you are, these are all very serious questions. You have to ask yourself, how did I spend the whole day at the end of the day? That will tell you who you are. Okay, so what am I doing? What are my actions? Okay, this will tell you who you are. Now, this will tell you who really you are. Now, you know what is reality? Yes, these are questions. Because there is no answer to that. I have nothing to show you. Unfortunately, I did not bring. Okay, I don't think I can bring anything real. Okay, but there is a tool that will help us if we start thinking about thinking. I hope this will help you for rest of your life. Okay, thank you so much. Your lunch is waiting.
Thank you so much, sir. Science does not begin with answers. It begins with curiosity. We hope these 10 days become a journey of curiosity, discovery, scientific temper, and learning for each one of you. May Science Quest inspire you to ask questions fearlessly, think critically, explore ideas with enthusiasm, and carry forward the joy of scientific inquiry long beyond these 10 days. As we come to the end of the inaugural session, I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who contributed to the Science Quest program. First and foremost, we extend our heartfelt thanks to all the speakers today for taking their time to share their knowledge and experience with us today. We would also like to sincerely thank the faculty coordinators and other faculty members, IIT Palakkad, for their constant support and encouragement. Our appreciation also goes to volunteers, staff members, and students of IIT Palakkad for their dedication and efforts at every stage of the event. We also gratefully acknowledge the support of auditorium team and security staff. Finally, we would like to thank all the participants of Science Quest and the parents who accompanied and encouraged them. Thank you all once again. Now, we'll have a small informal session where the parents and students can speak with one of the faculty members of our institute. I would like to invite Dr. Lakshmi Shankar, Associate Professor, Department of Mathematics, to handle the session. It's going to be an informal session. Any one of you can ask questions.
Hello. Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, all. We have only